Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another fantastic episode of Last Minute Kickout. I, as always, am your reigning, defending, heavyweight, super heavyweight, LMKO champion, Pete Titus Creed Nevercoat, joined to my left and right, or up and down, I don't know where Kevin places us in the editing, is one Mr. John Turbo Finley.
Yeah, just a regular heavyweight. Or maybe a cruiserweight. I don't know where I'm at nowadays. Yeah, cruiserweight. I'm a cruiserweight.
Are you under 205 pounds?
Yes, I am.
Then you are a cruiserweight. And joined by Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva.
Thank you, Crash Holly.
I'm not Crash. Crash had way less hair than this.
But you are a super heavyweight.
That's true.
Or just an E-Roy.
But you two do generally feel like I am fighting Patterson and Briscoe, and this does feel like the hardcore title at times. So,
remind me how many times we've been champion, Turbo. I think it was 2, right?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah,
actually, no. I've miscounted. It's actually 3, but I like to use 2 as an example.
Actually, 3. What? He's just giving. Look, he's definitely fucking Briscoe giving himself title reigns.
No, in fairness, because he had the title, and then he had the title off of you when you were away on you lost your smile, and then it came. Then I won it off Turbo, then he won it back off me. So he is a free time.
You two were hot shotting it, like the hardcore.
Yeah,
title.
but we're a full time. So
remind me who's had the longest title reign? Oh yeah, right. That was me.
Oh, he's our truth. I'm sorry.
Anyway, we're retreading ground again here.
Of course.
See previous episode for this previous conversation. Yeah, go on.
Mr. I want to go around this circle a bunch of times.
We start at point A, and then we retread everything to get back to point A to begin point B, to make it all the way around to, point C again, and then we just we're just riding the bike. To the end of the podcast.
We're riding the Strowman train. That's what we are.
No one's on that Strowman Express.
Speaking of WWE's writing template, yes, hello everybody. We're here to talk about the series of surviving.
That one time of the year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head.
Apart from those other times where we say it's the one time of the year when Raw and SmackDown go head to head. And oh my god.
Yeah, it was
Stop doing that.
It was bad this year. At least, it seems like the last 2 years they've got on their bloody screwy finishes out of the way. Like they've stopped that completely now. I was wondering if it was a one-off last year, but no, it's apparently all done.
No, the screwy finishes are always at Hell in a Cell. Which luckily enough it wasn't.
We didn't have that this year.
So
we lucked out, which means they're saving them for a special occasion, such as the Royal Rumble.
I'm not sure if it's literally just because it's off the back of Full Gear, and we're literally recording this after AEW Dynamite's winter is coming, War is here, quasi pay-per-view
special. It's a network special.
And oh my god, like fucking Survivor Series is just shite. Like,
it's like I thought it was all right at first, and then
the best
stuff happened afterwards.
The best thing that happened was the pre-show,
which is a bad sign. We're going to get onto this eventually. I know, but do you guys think that Survivor Series is a main for
it's meant to be, because the problem is that it's regarded as such because it's one of those particular formats that they like to keep tripping out, but it's also one of the only 4 names that's been around for so long now. Everything
it's been over like 3 decades.
So like that, the Rumble, Mania, and SummerSlam, they're the only ones that have lasted the test of time to like do it as seasonal things, but it's just I don't think it works anymore.
Send it off to NXT. Send Survivor Series off to NXT. for it to get a bit of an overhaul, and then it can come back to the main roster at a later date once Triple H has fixed it.
Like, I get the whole, like, men's and women's Survivor Series matches that I can live with, but I really think if they want to keep the champion versus champion things, they need to stick it on Clash of Champions again. That's where it felt better. But again, the biggest problem with the way they're doing Survivor Series now is that when it comes to the Raw and SmackDown like TV programming, it just puts everything to the wayside for the sake of, like, if you wear a red t-shirt or a blue t-shirt.
You know what they should do? And they'll never do this, obviously, because it's stupid. Fuse Survivor Series with War Games. And have Survivor
Fuse Survivor Series with Clash and I'm done with it.
I just don't think it should be what they're doing anymore. Like, just keep it as a pay-per-view, but just have stakes to it. Like, everything except the Survivor Series matches, just, you know, like, if you want to have those as best of the best, then fine, do that, you know, but we still need to have, like, contenders, because it just becomes, well, there's no stakes involved, because what happens? Oh, the winner of the Raw men's team, one of them gets they do a tournament for a shot at at Drew McIntyre. Okay.
I think you mean they get bragging rights.
Is that
they get WWE bragging rights.
That's already been the pay-per-view and it tanked.
Exactly.
But it's just, you could honestly, as one of the big four, you could blink and miss it, because there's no storytelling worth a damn. Like, I think the only thing that you're interested in is McIntyre versus Reigns, and that's literally only because they put McIntyre on SmackDown television.
Oh, the only other matchup that was interesting was probably the women champions clash. So.
No,
yes.
That match was bad.
Really? What match were you looking at?
Clearly not that one. If you guys liked it, it held no interest. Maybe it's because I just don't like Sasha Banks. But
well, then how about we start then?
Let's get this thing underway. So, kickoff, we mentioned it. Had a battle royal.
The only way to get everyone else on.
It was won by The Miz in a shocking turn of events.
No, not a shocking turn of events.
But he's got the briefcase, John.
No.
He's not supposed to win ever again.
No! It's not the case. Because they did
didn't use it.
The same bloody finish they have been doing almost ad nauseum with every battle royal they've been doing for the last year. Where basically final two is in the ring, but of course there's actually a third man on the outside who wasn't eliminated properly. He comes in, or she comes in.
They British bulldogged them.
Women than the men, and now the men's getting involved, and then they eliminate the second to last person out.
But they also did that on Winter is Coming's battle royal,
and I'm getting sick and tired of it. I'm getting sick and tired of it. No, stop.
No!
Stop this madness!
This is me angry! It's like, I'm getting sick and tired of it. I just...
It is unfortunate.
Just stop using that bloody finish. It's not working anymore.
Quite right.
Stop
It isn't working anymore, and people need to start getting some new story.
Miz as a credible kind of like cash-in... thing, because he was losing multiple times before that win. He was getting beaten up by Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for so long as well. So it's like,
so what we're saying is what you're saying is, John, it was a botch and The Miz wasn't supposed to win because he's got the briefcase, and he's never supposed to win again because he's got the briefcase.
Ugh.
Unless he does start winning, in which case that's a guarantee he's not going to get the title.
That logic is not.
Doesn't work well. Does it shock your system?
It's like see Alberto Del Rio. Or,
I'd rather not.
Or what is it? Damien Sandow. That's a better example.
Yeah. I'd rather not see a Battle Royale, and frankly, nobody would.
No.
Again, the problem with the Damien Sandow when it comes to a Battle Royal is it's literally the only story that's worth keeping an eye on going into it, and therefore you know that something's going to happen there.
Oh yeah, it's predictable.
It's the same. It's the same problem with everything else. At least with a Battle Royal, you know, there's something that can happen. But yeah, maybe the going through the middle ropes and being on the outside is a
It wasn't even middle rope. It's like he went over the top rope and then slid out under the slide back in and at the bottom, only to be drop kick. But of course, he slid in enough to make it reset, and then when he got kicked out from the bottom and whatnot, it's like, no, he's safe.
It could be worse.
Safe.
It could be a Survivor Series match where just being like, where we have.
Don't worry, we'll get
Come on, Oos!
Survivor Series eliminations.
It's like when we have 15-minute matches, 30-minute matches for one-on-ones go amazingly, and in a Survivor Series match, you can enter, take one finisher in 5 seconds and be knocked out.
I know.
You look at the lineup for that Battle Royal as well, and you just think, well, yeah, that's a match. Because we had Angel Garza, who, as you know from previous shows, I think is not very good at all. Apollo Crews, Cedric Alexander, Chad Gable, Dolph was in there.
Of course.
Dominic and Rey Mysterio and Murphy were in there because God alone knows we needed more of that. Elias was in there with Jeff Hardy. Humberto Carrillo was in there. John Morrison was in there. Kalisto, Ricochet, Robert Roode, Shelton Benjamin, Shinsuke Nakamura, and of course The Miz. And it's just there's like 5 people there that should be booked in matches properly, and everybody else is like, and it felt like it. And I don't care, but Miz won, and that's fine. I think we're all happy that Miz actually did get a win, as much as I'm taking the piss out of the booking system for Money in the Bank winners. But yeah, that was that.
So let's swiftly move on to the main card then.
Yes.
As we opened up with the men's Survivor Series match. With Raw and SmackDown going to heavy.
What a way to bury a show that's been so much better than the other one. You know? Let's just clean sweep it.
Just...
What was it last year? It's like last year was NXT domination, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was like, look, these are the people that are going to replace the people you're watching at some point. The Raw versus SmackDown thing felt very much like.
Actually, I think I recall, what was it? The last year it was Reigns and Keith Lee that went to the wire and whatnot, and I think Reigns was on Raw. So yeah, Raw won. Raw men's.
Look, we need to keep Raw strong.
Team. Yeah,
as has always been the case in these. Raw has to be strong because and Raw has to get 8 million more draft picks, and Raw has to get all this other stuff. Even though SmackDown is the better show. And has been for a very long time, and that was even before the Fox stuff.
No, I disagree with that point, John. The big draw to SmackDown right now is, even as fucking Heyman said it on SmackDown, is the main event storyline. It's Reigns and Uso. That's why SmackDown is better alone, because there's actually an interesting storyline.
High story stuff going on. I still think WWE could somehow tank it, but hey. So anyway, the highlight of this match, and I think people will agree with this. The highlight of the match was Keith Lee coming out to half decent music.
He's got a new song, hasn't he?
He's got a new song. It's not whatever the frick they did to his old one.
Now,
any other variant.
It's not a cut off variant of one that they don't want to use because they don't want to pay like fees for anymore.
Royalties. Yeah.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
So Seth Rollins sacrificed himself for the greater good.
The greater good.
This is the greater good. I am the Messiah. I will sacrifice myself.
As a way to get written off of TV, this was so weird. I was expecting like.
Can we? What? Yeah, it's a weird one because it's instead of putting somebody over and giving him the chance to have a program afterwards, what he did was effectively piss off everybody. Because even the Team Raw was like, what the hell? You know? So, yeah. Hey, Sheamus got a pin.
Yay! He finally did something after so long.
Yay! I'll flat cap himself. He got a pin. Then AJ eliminated Kevin Owens.
In fact, every person on the
every person got elimination. Yeah. AJ eliminated Owens. Riddle eliminated King Corbin. I kind of felt sorry for Corbin actually after that match. I'll be honest. Braun eliminated Otis because Otis is just there to get the crap beaten out of him now until he goes back to the lower mid card. And Keith Lee, who was made to look pretty ordinary in this match, as opposed to the booking previously, until the end, eliminated Jay Superboy.
I mean, when you have,
Superboy.
I mean, the problem with the Keith Lee problem is that 1-on-1 he looks very good. When you stick him on a team of giants, it's not very good. It's not very interesting. But this is why I think most other wrestling equivalents work a little bit better, is because in other things they're not just hiring big people with muscles, they're hiring a variety of sizes and talents, and therefore, you know, when you have someone like Keith Lee, you're gonna have him with a variety of people other than people who are just really tall and strong.
In amongst all that lot, Riddle and AJ looked so out of place. But anyway, Captain AJ kept them together. He's not the captain.
Self-appointed.
Yeah, he's the not Captain AJ kept them together. Jey Uso, Super Uso Prime, kept 5-on-1 and somehow was doing well, but this would disappoint Roman Reigns because he didn't win a 5-on-1 against multiple world champions, because Roman apparently wasn't watching.
They don't listen to him because they don't fear him.
They don't. Yes, you didn't win because they don't fear you. Yes. Also, did you see what he was up against technically? And
doesn't matter how many.
Jey Uso got more offense in that match than
but you gotta remember,
some wrestlers do in their entire WWE tenure.
You got to remember though, Survivor Series is the one like where they won't even help break up a pinfall, compared to like a tag matches where they're scrambling to get in.
Yeah, you can always tell that there's this point where it's like, oh yeah, well, we'll break up the pin, and then there comes a point about, you know, you're 10 minutes in where the entire concept of you should break up a pinfall just goes out the window, and then we lose about 4 people. So and so has been eliminated. So and so has been eliminated. The person who just pinned that last guy, they've been eliminated as well.
It's just, you look at the SmackDown team and there's at least 2 people who are tag team specialists there, being Otis and Jey Uso. And, you know, Rollins was part of the Shield as well, so technically he could be there. But Rollins, you know, Corbin is been part of tag matches all the way through SmackDown tenure because they've got nothing else to do with him, and there's too many fucking people on the
Remember
roster.
how he was the lone wolf?
Yeah, I know, right? And
He's doing
and fucking Owens was tagging with Zayn again, is in the same position as Corbin where he just is in tag matches. Like, they've all got, and yet they're the team that lose.
It's very weird.
They had to build a story up for the following night somehow. So having the guys have, the guys on Raw get their clean sweep win will obviously help build the story afterwards, which would lead to, eventually a couple of weeks later, AJ getting his title match against Drew McIntyre. At
TLC. It's just a
TLC.
standard match at this point. And
at the moment, yes. So, unless I'm sure they'll put it as a TLC match.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's just a bog standard ladder match. And that's how they bring AJ's big guy comes into play. At which point, both the main championships will be at the top of the fucking ladder for the fucking TLC things.
The idea of having TLC matches and then splitting it up into tables, ladders, and chairs matches makes no goddamn sense, especially the ladder match.
Yeah.
The ladder match is like, it's like a TLC match, except the weapons aren't as readily available, I guess.
I mean the TLC match is just a ladder match.
Yeah.
it's just like, but we've added more chairs and tables to ringside.
I was watching a match. Actually, it was a match. It was a representation of wrestling on another show. The other day, I was watching it with my fiance Kat Double Cross. For those of you who are familiar with Last Minute Continue, and it was a ladder match, and the titles were hanging from above, obviously, but it wasn't obvious that it was a ladder match. First of all, because if you're not familiar with wrestling, because there was no ladder, so it's like, hey, and Kat just looked at these. So they've hung the belts from the ceiling. And I was like, yeah. And she just went, that's a bit stupid.
Don't show her an Ultimate X match.
Let's not pull on that thread with wrestling. The entirety of wrestling might just unravel.
Can you show her the TLC match from WrestleMania X7 where Edge spears Hardy?
Oh yeah, I should ladder, do that.
And watch her go, well, that's probably gonna hurt.
Actually, that. Like, she'll probably say something like, "Oh, his shoulders are going to be sore in the morning," something like that. Or the other thing is, well, that's unnecessary. That would be.
Well, I mean, it was very unnecessary.
Well, that's a bit excessive.
No, she watched the live series. I should ask her what her score was afterwards. Yeah. So anyway, we move on to
what I think was one of the better matches of the night.
Yes. Mainly because it involved the New Day coming out as the New Day in their Gears 5 get-up, complete with downloadable content Big E, downloaded just for this intro.
Who then promptly vanished from ringside.
Like,
someone used character select they chose no one.
No one said anything about that. I think it would have been better if Raw had insisted or Raw had insisted that Big E had gone to the back, because they made a thing about this that on social beforehand and interview stuff that, Big E would, if it came down to this match, Big E was supporting New Day, and he was supporting New Day against Raw, which they could have done something with, but instead they just had him disappear. He fell through the world. He's in the void, and
that means he'll just respawn somewhere else.
He did. He respawned with his old gimmick, on SmackDown. So.
I mean, I'm hoping the fucking powder was just a one-off because it was the Intercontinental thing, but
I don't know. It's like I was expecting him to go old school gimmick and counting 5.
Yeah, everyone was saying it's not proper Big E. It's not proper Big E unless he's demanding the 5 count and smacking AJ Lee accidentally. Then it's old school Big E.
That video actually came up for me in on YouTube about Big E explaining the 5 count thing. That was actually quite an interesting watch. But
Was the first minute of it him just going, yeah?
No.
It's not the proper Big E then. It's not proper Big E. Turbo, get on that, sort it out.
I enjoyed this match for what it was. It's a good thing we weren't doing predictions on this one because I probably would have lost, I'll be honest.
It was weird because they kind of set it up. They were very keen to make it sound like it was this passing of the torch thing. And it was like, really? Okay. I liked that New Day came out of the gate, pretty, and throughout the match were actually pretty, they weren't
it's just
messing
really fun
about.
to watch all throughout, yeah.
They're all business.
Yeah. Fair dues. I mean, I wasn't as invested as you guys, though. Because the Street Profits have been waning on me a bit. And, with Kofi and Xavier, it's like it was just...
I mean, unfortunately, both of those tag teams have been relegated to, like, the ether on both shows.
Yeah.
The Street Profits are back to doing what they did
on Raw.
When Vince was trying to get the youth demographic to watch the show more, where they're just talking about the bloody show and what's going on. And Kofi and Xavier are just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. The promo before it was a bit weird as well from the Street Profits.
Yeah, that's what kind of like threw me off.
Yeah, I was watching that and I'm just going, was this intentional? Was all of this intentional?
I don't know.
I feel as if I've sort of like stumbled into something that was like outtakes. And no, this is the actual thing. Okay. This is the most entertained I've been by the Street Profits in any kind of match.
Fair dues.
That's not a massive bar to clear. And this match did sort of wane as it went on. I was more interested to see New Day be slightly heely during the I'm not talking about the things you skate on your shoes.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like thinking. I was wondering who's heel and who's face in this encounter, and really neither of them wanted to budge where they wanted to be.
This is the problem with how Survivor Series is in general. It doesn't give a shit about anything like that. Coherency goes out the window.
They stopped giving a shit the moment they started. They changed they traded tag titles, and that apparently counts another reign. Oh wow, excellent! Wait, we can just keep doing this. I'm a 75-time Raw champion.
God, we don't need that kind of like stuff happening. 24/7 syndrome to be used in on any of the other titles.
Most title reigns of any man, of any wrestler in the history. In the history of World Wrestling Entertainment, Archery, like 54 or whatever it is. Whatever it is his age is at the minute, it's the same amount of reigns.
Speaking of which, just to clear up what happened, it's like that was a bit throughout the night, both on the pre-show and then later on in the main show as Gobbledygooker being 24/7 champion. Who's in the Gooker suit?
It was a Gobbledygook. Gulak,
yes,
rather.
Good. Drew Gulak was in there. Ridiculous.
Hearing Gobbledygooker speak.
Oh yeah, gobble gobble
was so freaking weird. But hey, it was nice that at the end of the night, Gobbledygooker got to come out, and he got to say goodbye to the WWE universe. It's been 30 long years, and it's been a wonderful career. It's a wonderful career, and we're going to do a special charting our own thoughts about Gobbledygooker and his contributions to the poultry industry. And you'll see that New Year's Day. So look out for that, for another LMKO special. Gobbledygooker.
The bird flu years were something very exciting.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was rumours he was to blame. And as foreign objects go, pandemic is a pretty strong one. But
yeah,
you can't
our
argue he's not been booked strong in 2020.
I mean, here's the thing. You know, if he was to blame for actual bird flu, then maybe he shouldn't have just. And that's how it happened.
I think the powers that be might have censored you there, Pete.
God damn those powers that be. Vince McMahon is ordering God to announce head with his tiny little YouTube channel.
Oh, it's me, Dr. Fauci. It's me all along. Anyway, Street Profits won, and everybody was happy.
Everyone was respectful.
Everyone was happy and respectful. There was a little story about Xavier and Ford, I think it was, that they'd been like friends for ages, like 15, 20 years or something, and they'd never fought in the ring before. So there was a little story about that commentary said, and there was tensions building at the end. But yeah, it's all happy ever after. It doesn't damage New Day. It doesn't give Street Profits a bigger run as I think they thought.
They've done enough in the company to never lose their status.
Yeah.
You know, with how long they've been on top on that scene, yeah. Nothing phases them anymore. So.
Anyway, we move on from there to everything was officially non-title.
But
as if we needed any explanation, but apparently it was, according to WWE. Everything was non-title. We had the match that had the two competitors just back and forth over social media over how each of them is like, hey, I don't like you, but we'll show them because apparently we're not even worth... No, Undertaker's later, Pete.
This match is not worth my attention.
Yeah. But even they were like, you know, we're being left out, we're being like treated badly here, but screw it,
because
we'll
the
put on the match.
last time you guys had a card, Sami Zayn brought out 3 people in drag to be his sisters.
Please don't remind me.
The last time that Sami Zayn and Bobby
I
Lashley...
said don't remind me, not remind me.
But in fairness, look where the Hurt Business are now. Yeah, but Bobby Lashley dominated Sammy, and in fairness, it kind of had to be this way.
Well, yeah, I mean, granted, Sammy was still being the cowardly heel and whatnot, and trying to get himself disqualified to get the win.
There was some clever shenanigans going on,
or tried to get
tripping over MVP's foot, going, he tripped me, disqualify him.
It was ridiculous. It's like. It was, yeah. It was what it was. It was just a comedy. It was a comedy match under the veil of, you know, high stakes, for domination and whatnot, and it was ridiculous.
So CageMatch.net, which is where we sort of get our roundups when we do these, and when we double check. They've got their rating after 71 votes is 2.82 stars. Out of 10. I don't think that's entirely fair to Bobby or Sammy, because they tried with what they were given.
You see, that's the problem. I like Sammy, and I liked what he was able to do back. When did he get the unified titles? Like a couple of months ago. I can't remember the show, but when I was like hoping that he would like be, you know, smarmy and whatnot about the whole thing and whatnot, not revert back to the cowardly kind of like heel. I thought he would try to be a little more swindling and whatnot, and try to be a little more like cunning in the match and whatnot. But no, he was just doing the typical kind of like heel malarkey, essentially.
Malarkey.
Yeah.
Oh, Biden would love him clearly. But yeah, Pete pieced out for this match.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like Sami Zayn.
We all like Sami
what he's trying to
Zayn.
do, but it's just like this was the shortest match on the card. Like this was the piss break match, followed by another piss break match.
Oh.
So, actually, I think going back to the SmackDown, because obviously the passing of Pat Patterson, we had the tribute. What I thought was very interesting was when Sammy was brought out, and the commentary were like saying, "Oh, Pat absolutely adored Sammy," and it was like, "Did he? Where does that come from?" I kind of want to know more about that.
There's lots of just backstage stuff and things.
Yeah, I was gonna say
more...
there's been more, like the amount of outpour, like after his passing and whatnot, from all those kind of like wrestlers, both former champions of the IC title as well as like general kind of like superstars, was kind of like felt.
But
so.
I just thought it was kind of interesting. They mentioned the friendship he had with Dolph specifically, which is well known.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing about Pat absolutely adored Sammy, just like that kind of came out of nowhere.
I think
it's Sammy and Kev as well. Like
I think it was a big NXT thing.
Quite possibly.
Well, I mean,
there's a picture of Sammy with the NXT title on Patterson's shoulders. So
cool.
fair dues.
So
don't ask me because I'm literally going to say I just zoned out.
Right. Okay. So Raw versus SmackDown ladies match. The Boss, the Blueprint,
the blue-haired Sasha
Banks versus no one's ready for. She's just bought a new camera for herself. It's Panasonic. Asuka.
I haven't watched any of her content in a while, actually.
She's so fucking funny.
I know. That's why I used to like her stuff.
Hey, easy peasy people. What's up? Okay, so Sasha Banks got to wrestle here for first time in a while, and that even includes the Bayley match, to my sadness. I really enjoyed this for about 75% of it.
Fair dues. I mean, I actually had a lot more appreciation for the match, and even more so for Sasha Banks, actually, because finally it's like Sasha Banks was able to look strong against Asuka for
she
the
has to
longest
look
time.
strong. That's the problem.
Well,
they've literally just built her up to finally win a title and not lose it in the immediate defense. So they have to make her look strong.
Yeah. And we gotta thank the Mandalorian for it.
Yeah, it's literally the Mandalorian has done this. Okay.
Who'd have thought that hot chicken wings would get you a roll?
Apparently so. But yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of obvious that Sasha was always going to win this, just because of what Pete just said. They kind of put it in a situation where actually to continue Sasha having any kind of seriousness, she had to be Asuka.
But that's
here,
fine. I found
fine.
that to be fine, because eventually Asuka needed to, slow down. Eventually, like you can't have that kind of like overall dominance forever. And whatnot, and it you can't have her have the be outsmarted kind of like duped kind of like loss and whatnot from a smarmy heel or
but that's
whatever.
the last time. Are we honestly forgetting the last time that Sasha Banks and Asuka met? Well, Asuka destroyed Sasha, and the last time that they met before that, Sasha won because they were beating up on
Kairi Sane.
Kairi Sane, and Asuka was distracted. It's just like
they did kind of bring that up on commentary, if I remember rightly. They did. I think they did bring it up and then say, "Well, she's got a victory, but it was kind of a crap one. It doesn't mean anything, so you You gotta.
There's not even
pushing
that
it-
much time in between them.
About a
Well,
couple
that's
months.
WWE. Okay, if you want to give a great example of WWE and concept of time, Bailey versus Natalia this week. Michael Cole on commentary talking about Bailey's title reign like it was like, did you know that Bailey had the title for for over a year? And he was talking about it like it apparently it was something like that was a couple of years ago, like people have just forgotten about it. It's like pretty certain that this was, maybe just like a month ago.
The general audience.
That this
is
ended.
dumb.
It just is a great example of WWE, and just like if it's over a week, then the audience has no idea it ever happened. Apparently
So.
But yeah, it was nice back. We saw some moves that we don't see often, as well.
Yeah, and there was a lot of good reversal work from the pair of them.
There was also some poor reversal, but there was that last 25%. It was a bit sloppy. But
I've seen sloppier.
I have seen sloppier. And when it was crisp, it was crisp. When it was crisp, it was very crisp. When it was sloppy, it was very noticeable. But again, like I say, we've seen worse. I like that Oscar was just upset about it afterwards. That's what wrestlers should be in this situation.
General shock, yeah.
Sasha, swanning out like she was never ever troubled is very much in character, which is fine. It just makes me go back to I wanted to see Bailey and Oscar in a program, and I've seen this match with Sasha now, and I don't want to see Sasha and Oscar in a program. I just don't think it.
That's fine. You won't be seeing this again.
Well, yeah, it's a one and done. It's happened now, but hey, Pete. You might have zoned out for this one, mate. But I bet you're so glad you zoned back in for the match that followed it.
This was more entertaining than the last two matches. I actually enjoyed the women's.
Well,
I'm gonna remind you that I'm a casual viewer of the entertainment.
No.
You watch WWE more than me.
No, you can't. You don't have that excuse anymore.
But you two are the smart. I'm the least smart.
But you're not as casual as you think you are now.
You watch more WWE than I do, my friend.
I watch Raw and I watch SmackDown. And I watch.
You watch more WWE than I do.
Yeah, you do watch more than I. Heck, you watch more than I do, and I'm supposed to be the hardcore fan here.
Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. I'll tell you in advance. Spoiler warning, everybody. Team Raw won.
Look, I really enjoyed the fact that they let Peyton Royce do stuff, and she looked $1 million out there.
That is very true. Peyton Royce got a nice little rub. Shayna got to show that she can kill people.
Yeah.
And
I'll
then
give it
lose in
and then
in stupid fashion
goes.
I mean, to be fair, I mean this was bound with the winner of this match was only going to go one way. Like this has been built up.
Yeah, it was so obvious. Lacey Evans was in there. I completely forgot Lacey Evans was in the match.
Yeah, she punched Natalia. I think
she punched Natalia and eliminated her. Bianca Belair was in there because we needed to highlight the new star too.
Bianca Belair got what Keith Lee got last year.
Yeah,
she was almost the winner, but through some. Although granted, it was more dumber for her to be eliminated in this method. Well, not after coming back from a
Fighting Nia Jax to a standstill on the outside of the ring is not a bad way. It's a shame that she couldn't, because she would have easily destroyed Lana. If not, I mean, the problem is that full well, if Bianca Belair had managed to get back in the ring after that bell would have gone, Nia Jax would have got back in there and slapped 7 bells of shit out of Bianca, and then thrown Lana in to get the pin.
All I thought about during this was, there was 2 things. Number 1, thanks for catching Bayley, guys. Bayley took pretty much a straight suplex to the outside.
Again, can we talk about the most dominant women's SmackDown champion that fucking ate shit in 10 minutes?
Yeah. What the frick? I can almost understand where they thought they were going with that, but it's like if you ever had any kind of clear indication that you've had your time now, okay, move along please. It was very much that. I like that even though Bayley was the heel, everybody was behind Bayley. Team SmackDown was like pretty unified going into it. The whole thing was, Raw is all like grr, grr. And it's like, no, all the faces are behind the heel. Everybody is completely unified in the Bayley's captain. That's fine. We're gonna go and do this thing.
Even Natalya, which is fucking weird.
Even Natalya was kind of down with it. Again, I'm going back to that SmackDown again. Somebody made the point that Natalya, thanks to tapping out Bayley with the sharpshooter, Natalya's tapped out every single one of the horsewomen with the sharpshooter, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Can we talk about the Riot Squad and this match? What the fuck has the Riot Squad done in the back to apparently piss people off enough? Ruby was all the way through it. Was just treated like a fucking coward.
They broke the wrist of someone who they wanted to be in the Survivor Series match, and were going to rename to a name of Victorious.
Oh yeah, that shite.
Were they going to rename Chelsea Green?
They were going to rename. Yeah, she was going to do a promo after she won the match, and she was going to
call herself Victorious.
Victorious, and she was going to be in the
match. Was she going to have a secret? What's the?
No, that's Victoria. They won't name.
Oh, but she's not lady to mess with.
Yes, they were. They were going to do this whole thing, but yeah, it was. That's probably why.
Also, great shame for Chelsea Green. Gets a debut on NXT, gets a wrist broken. Gets a debut on main roster, gets a wrist broken.
No, I think she premeditated that injury.
I'll be honest, if I found out I was going to have a forced name change to something like Victorious, I'd probably go out of my way to snap my wrist off as well. Fucking hell. Like
Chelsea Lena, coming soon.
Oh, God, I hope not.
But yeah, Riot Squad were treated like they were nothing in that, going up against Nia.
Which is a shame because they were the only tag team for the tag team titles.
Again!
Liv Morgan looked relatively strong.
Liv looked a lot stronger than Ruby. Ruby was treated like absolutely.
Which is a shame because
Ruby was treated pretty much on the same level as Lana in terms of this is your threat level. Like, bonk.
Yeah.
So bad. So Peyton Royce eliminated Bayley after 10 minutes after nobody fucking caught Bayley, and
then Natalya put Peyton in the sharpshooter 2 minutes
because Natty gets her one elimination via the sharpshooter. Lacey then punched. We then had the pretty much immediate thing of Lacey punching Natalya and then eliminating her. Shayna eliminated Ruby. Liv managed to get an elimination on Lacey. So it wasn't a tire clean sweep this time. No. Then we had Nia eliminating Liv because
Shayna
how dare you?
DQ.
Yeah, DQ. Then Bianca and Nia
count out.
Mm-hmm.
To leave Lana as the sole survivor, which apparently has become a big thing in recent years.
Yes, the person who she did get in. She did get in, didn't she? She did get in at one point.
Yeah,
She
did.
tagged in. She tagged in.
Yeah, she tagged in
to the
and then
Fury.
She had a little bit of a
she had a flurry
around with and then immediately, what was it? I think it was like it was either Nia Jax or
She got lambasted by Nia Jax.
Yeah, she got bullied back into the corner and told to not to move from that spot, and then she won because.
Have you actually seen that special that she had?
No, I haven't.
I want to see the live one. I do want to see the live one.
Apparently, Lana got really emotional in hers because they were. She was talking about Rusev, but she wasn't allowed to mention him by name or something like that. She's found it really hard to like do everything without him there because she's felt like bullied.
She has been because media. Twitter's a bunch of twats at points.
I mean, that's
no sugarcoating it here.
No,
that's social media in a fucking nutshell.
Yeah, but it's. I'm hoping she has got the backing of some of the people from outside of Total Divas, some of the locker room, because clearly she needs a little bit of support emotionally at this time, because there is all this stuff going on, and it did very much feel like this whole table thing was very much a WWE style punishment, because it's WWE and we've seen this before far too many times.
Yeah.
Because they're that level of petty.
Can we talk about the best match on the card before we get really depressed about how they treated an old man's retirement?
Yeah. Let's talk about Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre with special guest referee. Special guest referee was just the crowd noise guy going into fucking overdrive. The crowd is so energized, Michael. Yes, because he's turned the fucking volume up.
This match had a really good video package to hype this up. In fact, it was the only match that had a video package to.
That's true. It was very un-WWE like.
Yeah,
they're
so
normally
it's
so good at that.
Yeah, because obviously all the other matches didn't really have much in the way of interactives to garner one. So, yeah. So they really put it all out there, and for good reason, because they actually did really good work.
It was a very good match.
Yeah,
it was interesting. I was engrossed the entire time. I mean, there's not really a lot more that needs to be said. It was good.
It built up from their small encounter in the Royal Rumble at the start of the year. And of course, with the dynamic, well, I wouldn't say it was changed, because I think Drew was still. Well, actually, no. I think Drew was kind of a heel still going into the Rumble.
Here's the thing: I would not put it past WWE for Drew to lose the title at Rumble, back to Orton or whoever, and then to win the Rumble and challenge Reigns.
Also do a Becky Lynch.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Except we need Edge to win the Rumble.
I think Edge will just come back. I think Mania knows. I think Vince knows that Edge Orton 3 would be enough of a money maker to make it a Mania worthy match at this point. But having the belt on Orton for 6 months was the wrong idea. So, but it wouldn't surprise me if he loses it. I don't think Edge having a return at the Rumble would be a bit silly, but having Reigns win 2 Rumbles in a row, I think, is more.
It's even worse.
Well, it's not even worse. It's it's
because even Austin didn't have that.
2 Rumbles in a row is 2 Rumbles in a row is a rarity. Like, how many times has it been done?
Oh, it almost happened with Austin.
How many times has it been done?
Of course.
Did Hogan do it? Or did he almost do it? He almost did it.
He almost did it,
and that was the one where.
And hell, even Roman Reigns has done it almost done it 3 or 4 times, because he was always in the top 4.
Did Hogan win 91? Because
Okay, so the only
no.
person who has ever won a Royal Rumble in 2 consecutive years is Shawn Michaels. Yeah,
Mm.
that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's. But I can honestly see McIntyre to be the man to do that
He could.
because I think McIntyre Reigns is a fucking WrestleMania worthy match.
It's this whole match sets stuff up for another day, most definitely. We had the fact that it sets up that Reigns has the victory over Drew, and Reigns gets to live by his thing is like, you're not the man yet, which gives Drew something to target, even as the champion. It gives him something to target. We had it that Drew was Drew continued his run of just being resilient against stuff, and he was pretty resilient against Roman's best offense. And when Drew finally did get the Claymore off, Reigns was really rocked by it and was in a position where he could have lost.
So of course he had that extra leverage.
Yeah.
Even though they were sent to go back home, leave the arena. Of course they didn't, because they needed to be part of the the family unit to make sure that
The bloodline.
Yeah, it's like Jay coming back against Roman's wishes and helping them out. It's like, granted, he's like,
it was an interesting ending.
Well, it's a typical ending, but it's like with that kind of like not stable kind of like.
It continues the bloodline storyline by having Jay do a thing. It's not very often. It's not very often that you see another ref brought down to the ring, and rather than trying to wake up the one that's already down there, doesn't happen that often anymore. And it's just a thing. Like Paul Heyman continues that one constant to stand at ringside and do nothing.
So just stand there and look pretty, Paul.
And horrified.
But I can see it happening. I can see McIntyre and Reigns having a verbal confrontation at the Rumble. I can see Jay get involved in the McIntyre match to cost him the belt. I can then see McIntyre take Jay's head off in the Rumble, win the Rumble, and go to take on Reigns, thinking that Reigns is responsible for the reason McIntyre lost the belt. I can see it happening. I can see it all happening on one night. Plausible. And I think it would be a fucking godstand WrestleMania match, and would somehow lead into Orton Edge at WrestleMania as well for the other belt.
Which Edge would win, get a month or two's reign, and then was able to transition on to somebody giving the rub of a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
But
speaking of Hall of Famers,
yes,
a future one.
Well, bloody hell, if he isn't, nobody could be.
I hope he does.
Yeah, they treated his fucking retirement like shit.
Oh yeah. This was like 30 minutes of pointlessness.
I liked the video package.
Oh, the video package was amazing.
I thought the video package was really good. I don't understand why you trot people out to then get rid of them, to have Vince be there on his own, to then get rid of Vince, to have Undertaker come down and do a thing.
I think it would have been more extended entrance.
I think it would have been much more of a grandiose thing for him to be there as Mark Calloway, since he's embraced that now, and have a Ric Flair-esque send-off with his friends in the ring.
But no, this is the Undertaker we're talking about. This is someone that is way more than just a Ric Flair, way more than just a Hulk Hogan. No,
well, he's a Vince McMahon creation. That's the big difference. And like,
have to have that last of that mystique of the Undertaker, of this entity, that has been finally put to rest.
I honestly feel like this was such a waste of my time to watch, especially since they've then replayed the video package as much as they can everywhere else.
Yeah, I've been hating that. How they've been wasting. They've been wasting TV time with that package on both Raw and SmackDown, and whatnot. It's ridiculous. It's like I don't even think any other retired wrestler or whatever has had their video package of or highlights of their either retirement or send off or a storyline that has been repeated ad nauseum as much as that last that 30-minute slog that has to be retold.
Mr. Kevin has been quiet, and he's in a way of he's establishing his thoughts right now, and I want to hear what he's got to say about this.
It was depressing, really, wasn't it? And it was depressing in a way I didn't think any of us thought it would be. We're losing Taker from the ring. We all know that it was inevitably going to happen. We all knew that it should happen for the guy's sake. The 30 Days of the Dead Man stuff on the network and all the stuff that's come out since with Mark Calloway essentially, just doing this even the stuff on Cameo, which has been freaking hilarious. By the way, in character as Taker,
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it's good to know that he's in a good place. That's the most important thing, that he's in a good place post wrestling, because that's the big concern I think that we had with somebody who's had this much of his life dedicated to his craft to suddenly be without that. We know it's a bad place for wrestlers.
He's been so much in character that it's such a breath of fresh air to see him not.
He is a funny guy.
Yeah.
He's really fun. If you haven't seen the one where they're doing, it was some pretty mobile company. You know the sort of video where they're saying, "Hey, you random person, do a promo, do a promo like you're talking to the Undertaker," and then Undertaker's been like coming in via the Zoom call or what have you.
Yeah.
But his comments in between all that, his ad libs and stuff, are really freaking funny. This was just sad. I don't know what I could only assume the electricity plays the Undertaker's theme was something they were going to have for a Mania sometime, which got canned.
This is a thing. That thing specifically, and I made note of it on the LMC Discord as well, is someone actually made that as a thing, reached out to Jim Johnston, and Jim Johnston replied. So they've obviously gone from there and got that in touch with Vince, and he's been brought in to do that.
It didn't really work.
No,
it was shit.
It didn't really work.
It works in a thing of, it's a fantastic fan tribute thing. Like, it's nice to see that on the grandiose stage of it all.
Yeah, it would have been like an aside, a good aside, not like we've got to wait for the man's. It would have
been a thing. It would have been a thing of WWE saying, "Oh, show us your best Undertaker fan tributes," and it's showcased on a video there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. Two massive bloody Tesla coils in the middle. They just blew their entire effects budget for goodness knows how long. They've got to do 5 more years of Saudi Arabia shows now to cope with all the fire and stuff that they did. The elevating stairs were like, okay, please don't fall off.
Well, it was a massive platform. It wasn't like a small little thing. It was like a very wide thing. Yeah. He had plenty of space to keep his balance and whatnot. I think he was fine.
But I think that when we had the piped in crowd noise, because he hasn't dealt with the Thunderdome before.
No.
So he's not familiar with that. And then he's getting piped in crowd noise of people chanting Undertaker, Undertaker. And he looked visibly put off by it. He looked like it kind of took him out for a minute.
I'm sure it was.
And it was just so,
because
it was so sad just to say what he said so little.
When he was talking about the kind of like cinematic matches and whatnot, and how and this was like during like interviews before this happened and whatnot. he was not like
He's not
finding
a fan
the
of them.
yeah, he's not been a fan of
But he
that,
really
and
liked the thing he did with AJ. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's said that as a thing that was something to go out on, you know. And I'm glad that that's his last match because it you know, as fucking honky tonk as it could appear to some people, you know, it was good. You could tell that it didn't put a lot of stress on him as a physical thing, and it was entertaining, you know.
yeah, but it's also as a wrestling performer and whatnot. He would want that kind of like crowd adulation.
I'll be honest.
To be a part of it.
I'll be honest. I think it's a reason why they've held it off for so long, and I guarantee you, if CV19 would have been called off by them, which is what a lot of people thought originally, and they could have had a crowd back in for around that time. That's probably why they were trying to hold off the official retirement rather than just at the end of Mania match.
They sort of booked themselves into a corner by insisting, "Oh yes, 30 years, so this is going to be it." I mean, the cinematic one was
WWE booking themselves in the corner. Oh yeah. My!
The cinematic match was great because it completed the long sort of train of things because Bray went after his power, and then Brock was after the streak, specifically killing the streak. You know, after that we had a situation where Roman was after the Yard. Roman was after becoming the big dog. He was coming in the Yard, and it sort of, and it followed that through. So the last thing for that was sort of stripped away from the Undertaker was AJ trying to strip away his mystique.
AJ wanted his wife.
No. But AJ sort of was stripping away the last thing to go from the Undertaker was like you could take was the mystique of the character, and that's what the last battle was over. So it makes it. I mean, Taker barely said anything. It was very sad and simple. I liked what he said in terms it was time for him to lay the Undertaker to rest in peace. But it was very quick when he got in the ring, and like we all think, it was just it was a tragedy that it was not in front of fans. It was a lesser thing for it, and when you compare it to others, and then we know that it's partly due to the current global situation we're in, but it just felt like such a sad send-off for the Undertaker. However, I must admit I got pretty damn depressed about this because I've loved Taker as a character. Has been from my entire life as one of my favourites. What makes me feel better is what we said before we started this particular piece of the podcast. We said Hall of Fame. This was saying goodbye to the character as an active in-ring. He can say goodbye to the fans when the fans are back, and then they can put him in the Hall of Fame. And he can come out at Mania like they do when we have Mania back and everything is back to normal. And he can come out and he can do a proper goodbye in front of the fans as the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then he can tombstone some fool for the hell of it. So he can get that.
And that was Survivor Series 2020 in a nutshell. John, score out of 10.
I'll say I did like a couple of sure we stop staring at me like a bloody bug-eyed kind of like freak. For those who are not watching the video, these guys are just really
Give me a score.
staring at that. Shut up. Give me a time. I'll give you a 7.
You've had like about an hour.
7 he said. He said a 7.
We've all had an hour, and now you have a 7.
Kevin.
5. I never want to see this show again. 5.
I will give it a solid yet undeserved 3.5.
I think this is probably the biggest spread we've ever had.
It's
Well-
also the lowest score I've ever given anything.
Well, can I revise my score then and just
No,
say
no, you
six?
can't.
No, you
no,
stick. You
you
stick
said
with what
7.
you think for you. We've said this when he's tried to do something weird with the scores.
Yep.
So you stick. You thought it was a 7. 7 enjoyable. You stick with it.
That's because I had you two staring at me and I just spitballed a fucking number.
It's 7. 7, 5, 3
and a half.
and a half.
Guys, it was garbage. I'm gonna say what I said on. It was either at the beginning of the show or it's before we started recording. It stuck between Full Gear and Dynamite Winter is Coming. Like
Both of which
really,
we loved the shit out of.
Yeah.
Although, granted, I did.
It
But
puts,
I
all, its
didn't
it
like
puts
this.
all its main storylines on hold for the sake of doing this whole fucking brand warfare bullshit. Make
And then-
it a normal pay-per-view again.
And
That's
then they don't actually follow through with it anywhere. It's all pointless. It's locked into the brand mindset. It's locked into. If they actually took it away from the brand mindset and made it cross-brand, and it's like allies and friends from wherever the hell you get it from, that might actually make it seem more worthwhile. Because then you can actually use that
Fuck
to
me,
trigger
wouldn't
stuff
it
on
be-
each brand.
Wouldn't it be good to have Survivor Series teams based on fucking hatred or something? Like Roman Reigns actually has a bloodline stable, and they have a Survivor Series team against somebody else's team, and they have a fucking mystery superstar, which is a call up from somewhere which you wouldn't have expected as like something, or like a surprise.
We can
Fuck
borrow members of the family from other promotions.
It just make Survivor Series a fucking something that's worth tuning in for again. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, socials will be on the screen as always because Mr. Kevin's doing the editing and he likes doing that kind of thing. As always, that has been John Turbo Finley.
Alright.
That has been Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva.
It was.
And I have been Pete Titus Creed, now the LMKO champion. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, which I believe will be TLC 2020, we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bah.